What's going on, chess lovers? This is Maurice Bishop Chess. Y'all know my slogan, life is a game of chess. Guys, I'm letting y'all know that the Sneaky Black Lion chess video course is out. Is available right now. It's been available since last night, so make sure you cop that course. I'm letting y'all know, man, this course is probably over 4.5 hours long, and this course is not like the Ginger G Young Black Lion course or the Chessable Black Lion course. Is completely different. With this course, I'm actually showing y'all real live game analysis of the Black Lion opening and exactly what my opponent played on me. I'm actually showing you how you can control the board on the king side and the queen side, so where you're actually dominating your opponent on both sides. So, and guys, I'm actually giving you a lot of the tips and the tricks that I probably have not showed y'all on the YouTube channel at all. So definitely, man, go cop that video course and everything. And when it's all said and done, when y'all do get it, definitely give me a review and let me know what y'all think. Alright, guys. Peace. Hey, what's going on, chess lovers? This is Maurice Bishop Chess, and y'all know my slogan, life is a game of chess. Guys, I have my wife over here trying to interrupt me and stuff. But guys, I got a very great game that I played. I actually played the Elshad system. I mean, obviously, guys, if you look at my live bullet and chess games and everything, you'll see that I do play the Elshad system every now and then. So without further ado, let's actually get started. All right, guys. So my opponent played E4. I played C6. So it's looking like I'm about to play the Caro-Kann, but I don't. D4, D6, C3, knight B to D7, and let me talk about this. So when I do knight B to D7, like I said, he's probably already thinking that I'm doing like some crazy moves and things like that. And usually when they play C3, eventually they want to go E5 and maybe go knight F3 to get a strong grip of the center. That's pretty much the whole point. But obviously in this game, we actually break all positions, or we break all the rules and all the principles. So bishop D3, we go H6, knight F3, G5. He castles bishop G7, G4, knight F6. You're probably wondering if your opponent goes E5, it doesn't matter at all because you got knight D5 and then F4, which is will be a great move. So like knight E5, knight D5. Even if he takes, I mean, you could take back, and then even if he comes here, it doesn't really matter. Because you got a nice square on the D5, and then you got knight F4. So it's not bad at all. All right, so in this case, guys, after knight F6, my opponent goes bishop E3, and I go G4 automatically. I mean, at least this is how the Elshad is played. We go G4. That's the whole point of it, right? Ace captures G4, knight captures G4. And I'm hitting his dark square bishop. Now, remind you guys, in the Elshad system, black will love to get white's dark square bishop, because if we take his dark square bishop, we can create some dark square weaknesses, and that's really what we want. But of course, he doesn't give up his dark square bishop. He goes bishop F4, so we go knight F8, which is a beautiful move. Why? Because we have the option of going knight G6 hitting F4, or we have the option of going knight E6, where we're kind of controlling everything, where there's times where we go knight E6, we can push on C5, you know, or maybe sometimes knight G5 or knight F4, depending on the position. So I always love knight E6. Knight B to D2, and look, guess what, guys? I go knight E6. Hitting his dark square bishop, so he goes bishop G3. So what's the whole point of this, guys? The whole point, guys, with this, you know, this dark square bishop seems to, it's like active, but it's not active. You know, it's not really doing too much. Personally, guys, I could have just went h5. That would have been a good move. But instead, guys, I go knight g5. The whole purpose of knight g5, guys, is if he captures, I could take with the h pawn, and now I have an h file open. You know, and then even if he decides to go e5, I can take. So if he goes e5, I take, he takes. This light square bishop is gone. You know, so it create weaknesses. So e5 wouldn't be a good move for him. And also, this knight on g4 is very hard to get rid of because of the fact that my bishop is supporting this knight on g4. All right. So after knight g5, he doesn't want to take. He goes knight h4, which is kind of nice because he gets a knight f5 move. So I immediately go bishop f6. And the whole point of bishop f6, guys, is eventually if I move this e pawn out, you know, depending on the situation, I can move this knight out the way and then hit the knight on h4, which is also what I want. My opponent goes rook e1. As you can see, he's probably wanting to threat the e5. And usually in Elshad, we don't play e5. We don't do that. But in certain scenarios, we need to do it. So, which is why I go e5. And again, remember I told you, if he takes and I take, this light square bishop is undefended, you know, and then eventually I'm going to be going for h5 moves. All right, so queen e2. And let's look at this, guys. This is another thing I want to point out. A lot of y'all probably thinking, and which is probably something that you won't see in a book, in the Elshad book. Notice this move. Notice f3 move. Let's go back, guys. Notice this f3 move. As you can see, this knight is pretty much trapped right now. It can't move, but I was ready for it. The whole point of if he goes f3, the whole point is knight h3. So not only does he take and open up the G file for me, but I also get a hold of bishop captures h4. He takes, I'll take, and then if he decides to take, then that's when I could go h5. Yes, we are down a piece, but in this position, it's going to be very hard for white to defend this type of position. Because number one, this bishop is not active at all. It really don't have an active square because this pawn is blocking his way. This knight, it has some moves, but it's going to be ineffective. And of course, this king is like wide open, you know. So let's say he goes queen e2, ace catches g4. If for some reason, if white tries to exchange the queens, then we'll go queen h1 checkmate. Well, it's like one of the oldest tricks in the book because most people try to exchange queens, but then it goes wrong. Okay. Or let's say, guys, if they go, your opponent goes queen g2. We could go king f8, f captures g4, bishop captures g4, and if rook e3, because obviously he knows that the rook g8 is coming, let's go king e7. He goes there, we'll go rook h to g8. And literally, guys, after this is pretty much pretty much a wrap after this, because after rook f1, we have bishop h3. So look at this, guys. His queen is under attack. If he tries to defend his queen, you know, get out of attack, then we do have rook captures g3. And this becomes like crazy after this. Because even if you go here, rook g2, it becomes quite crazy. So, you know, white just lost this. All right. And most likely your opponent's going to take the rook. Most likely, you know, we're going to take the queen, as always. And then, obviously, your opponent will probably go rook captures g2. And then after that, black pretty much has an advantage after this because you can go d5. I'm sorry, not d5. You can go e captures d4. And if he takes, you go d5. Why the d5? Because most opponent will make a mistake and push the pawn, but not noticing his weakness. Queen captures e5, and now we're hitting the light square bishop. So now he loses a bishop. All right, so Elshad is very tricky, man, especially if you're playing like Blitz or sometimes even in tournaments, you know, it gets very tricky, you know, so That's why you really gotta look at the whole board. You gotta look at everything, but also know your tactics as well. All right, so let's go back, guys. So Queen E2, he didn't go F3. He goes Queen E2. But yeah, he didn't play F3 though, which was I don't know if he didn't notice it or I was waiting for it, but he didn't do it. All right, so my opponent, or after Queen E2, I go Knight H7, and I go Knight H7 because I'm hitting Bishop captures H4. My opponent goes Knight F5. In this position, guys, I could have just went H5, you know, pushing on H4. I could have did that, but I didn't. I go Bishop captures F5. E captures F5, and then I finally go H5 then. He goes D captures E5, D captures E5, and then now he goes F3, which is a mistake because after this move, this is when the Elshad really shows his best. Queen B6 check. Dark square weaknesses. And honestly, guys, if the bishop goes bishop f2, I'll be ecstatic because then I could take his dark square bishop, which is overall that's what we want anyway. But in this case, he goes king h1, and I go h4. Now, why did I go h4? I'll go h4 because if he decides to take this knight, then I could take his bishop. So now the king can't get here because of the queen guarding that, and he can't go to h2 square because of this pawn. And now all I gotta do is bring my knight. It's really nothing that this guy can do anyway, because after knight f3, I'm gonna just go knight g5 with a check. The only thing he could really block it with is with the knight h2 or maybe knight h4. It doesn't really matter. He's getting checkmated just like that. So that was the whole point of h4. Obviously, guys, he did see that after h4, he just go h2. And of course, guys, after that, I just pretty much took his dark square bishop. Now that I got his dark square bishop, guys, I castle queenside. I castle queenside. My opponent goes knight c4, hitting my queen, also hitting the e5 pawn, and I decide to go queen c7. Notice that the knight didn't want to take at first because he'll be pinned. So now I could just gang up on him. So that was one reason why he didn't take at first. But also, guys, even if you would have took, let's say like bishop captures e5, knight captures e5, bishop captures e5. If he decides to take my bishop, then I will win a piece. Now notice the queen can't take the rook because this queen is already pinning this king. See the tricks? See the little tricks in this and that undefended piece on d3? It gets crazy. So he's pretty much forced to take, and then after that we up a piece. We got a nice pass pawn on h4, and black is pretty much good to go on this, right? So that was the reason for knight captures e5. Alright, so queen c7, queen f2, and which is also a blunder as well because he goes queen f2 and I hit him with e4 check. So now I just hit his undefended bishop and I had a discover check here. F4 is played, e captures d3, rook a d1, and then I go b5. I wanted to hit this knight out the way. After knight e5, this is pretty much a one game after this. And guys, the rule of thumb is for all y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all do know this, but if you're up a piece, you might as well exchange as much as possible so that you can have a winning endgame. In this position, I could have just went bishop captures e5, but I wanted to put more pressure on him, so I go rook h e8. And yes, guys, he could have went rook captures d3 if he wanted to, but he didn't do it. So king g1, bishop captures e5, f captures e5, and I go queen captures e5. After queen captures a7, which is what happened, queen e2. Notice, guys, that my king is pretty much out in the open, sort of, kind of like out in the open. But notice that I have so much activity right now. I have a dangerous pass pawn on a D file. I have a rook on a D file, and I have a queen on the second rank. This is like very deadly. So even after the check, I just go king c7, which is no problem. Queen a7 check, king d6, queen d4. So it seems like he's going to get a perpetual, but he's not. King e7, queen c5 check, king e8, rook f1, which is pretty much what he does. And then I just push the pawn to d2 because I'm like, what else can he possibly do after this? Which is really nothing that he can do. Even after winning this pawn, I'm pretty much safe because after king f8, queen h6 check, and after king g8, I'm safe. It's not, he can't check me no more. He can't go queen g5 because of my knight on h7 guarding the square. The rook is already on the f file, so it's not like he can hurry up and come here and then come here. Plus, my opponent is already guarding that square anyway, so it doesn't matter. So he goes queen catches h4, and after this queen e3 check and king h1, I pretty much promote my pawn to a queen. And even in this position, he still can't check me at all. He can't go queen g4 because I'm guarding this, and obviously he's about to lose his rook. And obviously, guys, his time ran out and everything. His time definitely ran out. But as you can see in his position, it's really nothing White can do. Because even after he takes rook captures g8 check, if he comes here, I have queen g3. If he comes here, I do have rook d3 check. And if he comes here, queen captures on g2. And yeah, guys, it doesn't matter where he goes. If he comes here, I do have this move. This queen is going. Or if he decides to come here, which will actually be better. Probably this one. If he comes here, this is checkmate as well. Yeah, guys, it doesn't really. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. Even if he does comes here, this also gets this gets crazy too. Rook d3. It's pretty much the same thing, really. Here, you catch a g2 check. Yeah, same thing. Get him in check. He comes here, then checkmate. So it's really nothing that White can do after that. So guys, I hope you actually enjoyed this video. If you're watching this video for the first time, make sure you turn on your notification bell on. And also, guys, if you have any questions or any content that you want me to share or any games that you want me to analyze and actually post up on my channel, definitely drop a comment below on that. And also, guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All right, guys.